Hello everyone. In the previous class of structural mechanics strength of material, we have studied about the types of stress, types of strain, and the material properties like elasticity, plasticity, malleability, ductility, brittleness, homogeneous, isotropic, anisotropic, toughness, all the properties we have studied in the previous lecture. In this lecture, we will study whatever I told in that while I am teaching you the ductile material, that is steel, the mild steel. So the properties of mild steel is tested by our tensile test. So that I will teach you now. The tensile test of mild steel. So after the testing, one specimen is prepared and the tensile load is given to that specimen. Okay, and the graph is plotted between stress and strain. Suppose strain is in the x-axis and the stress is in the y-axis, and we'll plot a graph, and this is much more important, okay, for an interview and for the rest of the exam. Whatever it is, mild steel, and this is called stress strain curve. Okay, this part is much more important for your exam. So like this, okay, the curve will be like this. So I explain one by one point of this curve. Listen carefully. So after plotting this graph, we are getting some points somewhere here. Suppose the point A, somewhere here the point B, somewhere here the point C, here D, here E. The maximum point suppose F, and here is the point G. Okay, so now I will write all the point name. This may you get long question in the semester exam. So after denoting all the point, then this topic will be over about the stress strain graph. So in this case, point A is called your limit of proportionality. That is point A. Now the question is, what is limit of proportionality? Limit of proportionality means what? The stress is directly proportional to strain up to the point A. Means this point, suppose here the origin O point, OA is the linear region. Linear. Okay, stress is linearly related to strain up to point A. That is called limit of proportionality. Remember the point name, that is important. Limit of proportionality or proportionality limit. Next point is point B, is called elastic limit. So what is elastic limit? Elastic limit means what? The elasticity properties are valid up to the point B. Means up to the point B, whenever you will remove the load, the body, the material will regain to its original position. I told in the previous class what is elasticity. Whenever you will remove the load, the material will regain its original position. That is called elasticity. So that property is valid up to this point, elastic limit. Okay. So next we will move to the up point, that is C point. What is C point? C point is called upper yield point. That means what? After elastic limit, there is one point will come, the yield will become, the yield stress will happen at that point, that is called upper yield point. Another point without increasing any stress, another point, there is the D point, that is also yield point, but that is lower yield point. Because of the carbon atom displacement, there are two yield points we are getting, that is upper yield point and lower yield point. But lower yield point is called the actual yield point because after that point the plastic deformation starts. So now what is plastic deformation? Plastic deformation means the without increasing any stress there is a increase in the length of the material. So you can see in the DE length is increased, strain is increased, but stress is constant throughout its DE length. Okay, so this region is specially called yield plateau. Yield plateau. Okay, DE region is called yield plateau. Okay, in this region, plastic deformation occurs without increasing any stress. Strain only increases, the deformation only increases. So, after the E point, the stress starts increasing and it will move to point F, the maximum stress whatever the material can exist, that is the maximum stress, F point. So, that is called ultimate point. So now the point EF is called, generally strain is much more harder, much more increasing. This region is called strain hardening region. Okay. Next, the last point is point G. After the ultimate point, the stress starts decreasing and somehow after some time it will fail, and the failure point is point G, that is a breaking point or necking point. Okay, G is breaking point or necking, it is also called necking region. Okay, so again I am explaining, this curve is called stress strain curve for mild steel. This curve we are getting by the tensile test of steel. Okay, so this curve is generally called nominal stress strain curve. Why I use the term nominal? Because the area of cross section of that material we are taking as constant, but in actual practice the area of cross section will definitely change because we are giving some tensile load, we are giving tension to that material, so the area of specimen will definitely change. But in this curve we are taking as area of cross section constant, so this is generally called nominal stress strain curve. If you will take the actual area of specimen at every point, then that curve will be called true stress strain curve. It will somehow go like this without going this thing. So this is your true stress strain curve. True stress strain curve. It is nominal stress strain curve. Okay. So that is, in that curve, whatever the stress you will get, that will true stress, true strain. Okay. This is all about your stress strain curve for mild steel. Okay. I am writing here for mild steel. Don't get confused. It is much more important. Okay. So if you getting the question in the semester exam, just do the diagram, show the point like this and explain one line for each point. That's it. Your answer will be over and get the full marks. Okay. I hope this will be clear. Next case, the stress strain curve for brittle material. The stress strain curve for brittle material we'll see in the previous we have studied a stress strain curve for mild steel. In this case we'll see that stress strain curve for brittle material. Mild steel is our ductile material, it is our brittle material. So I already told in brittle material there is no larger deformation like ductile material. Ductile material are getting after yield point some larger deformation, plastic deformation, but in brittle material will not get the larger deformation. Suppose in the y-axis we are taking stress and the x-axis we are taking strain, okay, so the curve will be somehow like this. There is no obvious yield point, we are not getting the yield point in the brittle material, just we are getting the here the breaking point, suppose last point. Somehow here you can write the yield point, but it is not obvious, okay, and here you will get some proportionality limit, okay, like this. This is a stress strain curve for brittle materials like concrete, cast iron, okay, cast iron and concrete you can tell brittle material, cast iron you also you can tell brittle material. So after this one I want to tell some law, that the most important law, that is Hooke's law. Okay, Hooke's law. So what is Hooke's law? Hooke's law? Hooke's law is states that the stress, that is sigma, is directly proportional to our strain epsilon. Okay, so for this law you always remember whatever the law, whatever the statement, there are some assumptions behind it. So Hooke's law also have some assumptions, like the first assumption is, there are three assumptions. First assumption is material is homogeneous. What is homogeneous? I already told in the previous class. Homogeneous means properties are same throughout its volume. Second assumption in material is isotropic. Isotropic means, remember the assumption, isotropic, homogeneous. Isotropic means material's properties are same in all direction at a point. Third one is material is elastic. If the assumptions are valid, then Hooke's law states that the stress is directly proportional to the strain within the proportionality limit. Whatever I told the point A in the previous lecture, point A is our proportionality limit, and up to that limit only Hooke's law is valid. After that point Hooke's law is not valid. So stress is directly proportional to strain within proportionality limit. Okay, within proportionality limit. So you already know, to remove the proportionality sign, one constant will definitely come. That constant is our E. So now the question is, what is E? E is the most used term in strength of material, that is Young's modulus of elasticity. This is called Young's modulus of elasticity. This is Young's modulus of elasticity. Okay, or obviously modulus of elasticity also it is called, that is by default Young's modulus of elasticity, it is denoted by capital E. Okay, and for the mild steel this value is fixed. I am writing for mild steel, yeah, for whatever the steel the value will not change, so just writing for the steel the value is 2 into 10 to power 5 megapascal. Okay, remember this value, this will be most useful for the solving the problem. 2 into 10 to the 5 megapascal, that is the Young's modulus elasticity value for steel. Okay, so I can define the Young's modulus of elasticity also. Suppose the modulus of elasticity, that can be defined as the ratio of stress and strain, that is normal stress, here the normal strain. Okay, normal stress and normal strain. Okay, this is our modulus of elasticity. Okay, Hooke's law is clear to everyone. It is much more important. I am repeating again and again. Stress is directly proportional to strain within the proportionality limit, with the assumptions should be valid, and the stress is equal to modulus of elasticity into strain. Okay. Next, some elasticity term will come, that is modulus of rigidity. Three terms are there. One is modulus of elasticity, second one is modulus of rigidity, and the symbol is G. Okay, so modulus of rigidity equal to shear stress by shear strain. What is shear stress? What is shear strain? I already explained, and one chapter is also there. Don't worry, we will study in detail what is shear stress and what is shear strain. Shear stress is denoted by tau, shear strain is phi. So the ratio of shear stress and shear strain is modulus of rigidity. Okay, this is generally represented as G or C also. Okay, don't get confused, it may be C. C लिखेंगे तो भी चलेगा. Okay, G or C. Okay. Next, third one is, here also I am writing, bulk modulus of elasticity. That is K. So what is bulk modulus of elasticity? That is equal to our normal stress to volumetric strain. K is equal to normal stress, here sigma means normal stress, and EV means volumetric strain. Okay, bulk modulus of elasticity means normal stress already you have studied, volumetric strain also already you studied. What is volumetric strain? Volumetric strain means change in volume by total volume, original volume, that is volumetric strain. So these three terms you must have remembered for further study, that is modulus of elasticity, first one, second one modulus of rigidity, third one bulk modulus of elasticity. This you must have remembered whatever the formula. Here normal stress means modulus of elasticity means normal stress to normal strain, G means shear stress to shear strain, K means normal stress to volumetric strain. Okay, remember this and by heart this is much more important. Okay, don't forget these things. Okay, I hope this much you must have cleared, that is about the curve of tensile test of mild steel, the stress strain curve, then the stress strain curve for brittle material, then Hooke's law, and these three terms, modulus of elasticity, modulus of rigidity, and our last term, bulk modulus of elasticity. This much lecture for today. If any doubt, you can contact me. Thank you.